If I told them and I showed them, they won't understand. If I told them how to get rich, they won't understand. If I told them they can't stop me, they won't understand. They don't understand. They don't understand. If I told them and I showed them, they won't understand. If I told them how to get rich, they won't understand. If I told them they can't stop me, they won't understand.
YouTube, what's good, man? It's your boy Ben. We back. Today we're going to talk about keys to success. So everybody has a common goal, I would assume, that most people in the world would like to be successful. But actually being successful is another thing. Everything you do, everything you think, your day-to-day activities all contribute to your overall success. The keys to success is to having a goal. First you have to aspire to be successful. You gotta want to be successful first. You have to have the idea. Success is an idea. It's a philosophy about life that you have. So once you start thinking that, all right, I need to be successful, I want to be successful, I aspire to be successful, then the thoughts will start to trigger in your head of, what do you need to do to be successful? And that's when the journey begins. What I would say, the first key to success is to do a self-analysis, meaning you learn yourself. You be honest with yourself. You sit down, you get you a journal, pen and paper, and you write down what things that am I doing that contribute to my success. And you write those things out. And then you write down what things am I doing that are not contributing to my success. How is my health? How are my relationships with my family, my friends, my peers, my co-workers, my business partners, my associates? How are my relationships? How are my finances? How am I thinking? How are my thoughts? How is my spirituality? How am I doing in all of those areas that are very important in my life? How am I living? You know, how are you taking care of your room, your house? How are you taking care of things? How are things going? Where do you have room for improvement? And it's like an ice sculpture. You start off with a big chunk of ice. And life is an ice sculpture. You got a big chunk of ice. Then you have this idea, this vision of, what am I going to turn this into? What am I turning this into? Whether you have a plan or you don't, you're going to turn it into something. It's going to become something. And you could choose to become successful, or you could choose to just exist. And you know, life will give you what it gives you. You might have a few successes, but do you want constant success? Do you want success that you have created for yourself, that you have manifested with purpose? And you get those tools. Now your tools are your thoughts, your ideas, your vision. And you start creating that. And you go on that journey of creating that ice sculpture. And at first, you're going to be knocking out big chunks. You're just going to be breaking it down. You're going to be getting the surface level things out the way, so you could actually get into the fine details. And that's when everything begins, with that vision. And you having those tools to get started. And success can be, your health is not so great. You want to improve your health, so you decide to cut back on sweets and sugars. And that's a small success. And then you get into, okay, now I'm gonna give me a diet. I'm gonna start eating healthy. I'm gonna start drinking more water. That's another small success. Then you say, hey, I'm gonna sign up for a gym membership. That's another small success. So you'll start adding up the small successes and the small wins, and they add up over time, and they turn into big W's for you. So you have your vision. So step 2 is You on that journey now. Now you know what your vision is. Now you start to crack the code of, how do I create this? How do I make this happen? So now you have to ask yourself questions. Why do I want this to happen? What do I need to do to make this happen? And what I mean by asking yourself these questions, I literally mean ask yourself these questions. When you wake up in the morning, ask yourself these questions. You'll start tapping into your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is like your supercomputer that you never access. You tap into your subconscious mind, you ask yourself, what do I need to do to make this happen? You'll start figuring out answers. You don't even have to force it. You'll start seeing things that most people won't see. You'll start seeing things pop up in your life. You'll start getting the answers. And it will come to you naturally. You won't even understand it. You don't have to understand it. But once you start asking yourself, what do I need to do? Who do I need to be around? What do I need to see? What do I need to know? What don't I know? And then you start paying attention to these things. Like, you might be driving down the street and the answer pops up. You might be out and about in the store and you talk to someone and they tell you the answer. They might say, oh, I do this. And you're like, oh, that's exactly what I needed. And you'll get those answers. It'll come to you. You might be scrolling on your phone on the internet and your whole algorithm be based on the answers of the questions that you are asking. What do I need to do this? And it might be somebody telling you, and you might be watching this video and it's me right now telling you, and you stumbled upon this video, and that's how it works. Always ask yourself, how do you do something? It's just like the great inventors, the scientists and all that. They sit there and they try to crack codes all day. They try to figure out the answers. They do the same thing. What do we need to do? What do I need to know? What's missing? What's wrong? What can be improved? What do I not know? And that leaves you on that journey to start figuring out what you need to do to create that success. Then, once you get to that point and you keep going, now you want to figure out, how can I start to put these things into motion? How can I start to make a step-by-step plan of how I'm going to execute what I need to do? Now you have to create a schedule. Now you have to start breaking down your day, setting apart time. Now you got to get organized. So that's the organizational part. You start getting organized. You start organizing these things. And you get organized. And then you stick to the plan. You'll have to make a lot of sacrifices. You're going to have to sacrifice some things. You're going to have to cut some people off. You're going to have to dedicate time to your purpose, to your success, to your plan, to your schedule. You have to dedicate time to that. You might have friends that's like, hey, let's go hang out and chill. You're like, nah, I got to work on this thing I'm working on. You might have people say, hey, let's go on vacation. You're like, nah, I gotta save this money so I can invest into myself. You might have people like, hey, let's go out and go eat this. And you're like, no, I can't eat that right now because I'm sticking to my plan. That's when the discipline comes in. Discipline is more important because people say stay motivated, stay inspired. Every day I wake up, I'm not inspired every single day. I'm not motivated every day. But I know what I need to do. That's the discipline. Discipline is when you do things that you don't want to do because you have to do it. No matter what. That's staying disciplined. You might want to do something else, but you're like, no, I got to do this. That's the only way it's going to happen. You committed to what you're doing, fully committed, all the way, 150%, every day, all the time, eat, sleeping, and drinking it. You living it. It's real. Ain't no half-stepping. You know what I'm saying? Fully into it, like you fully immersed. And then that's when you start getting on that journey more and more and more. And the more you practice that, the more it's going to be a part of you. You're going to start to become it. It will become you. Then you become successful. Then another step I got for y'all, another key, is once you have everything figured out, now there's going to be more codes for you to crack. You're going to get on this journey and you're going to start learning more things. You're going to start finding out more things. And you constantly have to be in a state of learning. It's like most people I see, we go to school our whole life, K through 12. Some people go to college. Some people drop out of high school. Some people go to college, drop out of college. Some people go to college and get degrees and all of these different things. But most people feel like they don't want to go to school no more. I know I feel like that. I never liked school, but I love knowledge. So you have to have this idea of when school is over, it's never over. It's never over. Every day we learning something new. Every day. It's room for improvement. And when you get on that search of knowledge, I don't care what you want to do, how you want to be successful. If you keep studying how to be successful in the thing that you want to be successful in, and you put yourself back in school and you absorb the information and you watch the videos and you write this stuff down in the journals, you collecting your thoughts, you reading the books, you talking to other people that have information and knowledge on the subject matter that you want to know about, you will become successful. If you go to college and you want to get your degree and you stay in class and you study and you prep yourself for the test, you'll get your degree. It's the same thing outside of school. It's the same thing with being successful. If you study it and you treat it like school and you take yourself back to school, you have to be successful. And school takes time. It takes time to get a high school diploma. It takes time to get a GED. It takes time to get an associate's degree. It takes time to get a bachelor's, a master's, a doctorate. It takes time. Undergrad school. It takes time. Certifications. It takes time. Licenses. It takes time. You want to get your learner's permit to drive? It takes time. You want to get your driver's license? It takes time. Everything takes time. So you can't expect it to happen overnight, but you know you got to study and you got to put in that work. You got to be dedicated and you got to be focused on the end result of your success. And it's going to take time. So be patient and study. Go back to school. Take yourself back to school. Absorb that information. Dedicate time for school. Most of us have a lot of other things to do in life. We got things to handle. So we could treat it like we part-time students. Online classes. You don't have to go sit in class for 8 hours. You could dedicate 2 hours a day, an hour a day, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes. You putting in that work, it's going to add up as much as you can. That's when the sacrifices come in. You might have to tell people, no, I ain't trying to go hang out. I ain't going to the club. I ain't going to sit here and watch TV all day. I'm not going to Netflix and chill the whole series all night. You feel me? I'm not doing that. You got to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term gains. Long-term gains. The things that make you feel good for a short amount of time is the equivalent of a crackhead smoking that crack. They'll be high for 5 minutes and they need to get high again. The things that you build that last a long time, you can enjoy it for a long time, forever. These things will help you in your life for the long term. Great benefits to your life. Make great improvements. And you'll love it. And you'll appreciate it. You'll know you did it. Be proud of yourself. that you know that you put in the work, you dedicated the time, you went through all the ups and downs, you made all the changes, all the sacrifices, the dedication and discipline. You did all of those things to make it happen. You had to make it happen. That's how I look at it. I look at things like, man, I had to make it happen. I had to do this. It had to happen. I have to do this. I can't quit. I can't give up. That's when the real you comes out. What you really made of. How bad you want it. You want it that bad? You sure? You sure this is what you want? That's what you gotta ask yourself. Are you sure this is what you want? You might think you want something and you really don't want it.